We're always thinking about like what we're trying to prevent. And then now we're in crisis mode, right?
Yeah.
Like now we got to drive 2 hours to the abortion clinic or what have you. But if we can prepare, at least let ourselves relax, get some tips, and think about it as like this preparation, like literally adulthood.
Hey y'all, it's Thea with Dem Black Mamas, here to tell you ways to start your joy journey with me this fall. Now, you've heard me talk about joy as a metric for powerful transformation and for healing in your life. So fall is the perfect time to pack and prepare your joy toolkit for 2026. I would say consider one-on-one sessions with me so we can customize your definition of joy, identify your joy barriers, and set some joy goals that are tailored to you and your needs. And last but not least, I'm happy to announce that Hold a Sacred Retreats is starting back up in 2026. We return to the Red Sea for the most immersive joy experience that I offer. But you don't have to take my word for it. Our very own Crystal Tennille Irby went, and you can read all the reviews. So all the links are in my IG bio. They're also in our show notes, or you can just email me at thea@theamonnier.com. But I thank you for your trust and for listening.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Ride. You're on the mothership inside the Black Mama Magic Room with the greatest podcast on earth,
G-Po.
I am one of your co-hosts, Crystal Tennille Irby, and I was today years old when I found out that Luther Vandross wrote Brand New Day from The Wiz.
Oh.
Did y'all know that?
That
I
tracks.
did not know that, but that
I
does
can see it.
track.
Keisha, it
You know what
does
part tracks? Everybody get up. That gives me Luther. Can you feel a brand new day? That gives me
It's
Luther.
very Luther.
That gives me
It
Luther.
does track, but I'll talk more about that later. But when I found out, I was like, Luther wrote this?
That is a very
We
it
learned
does
more
make
about Luther
fact.
after he passed
Yeah,
than we did when the man was alive.
It totally
true.
sounds like a Luther bop. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to close my eyes for a second. I am Thea Monnier, mother of 4. No, shit. Jesus. Run that back. I am.
You're trying to tell us, friend?
That includes Remy. That includes Remy.
I told you on the last episode, we're not counting Remy.
I am Thea Monnier, mother of 3.
Yes.
I will not be making that mistake again.
And I'm Nikisha Killings, mother of...
I don't like all them ums.
4. And no more.
You know, we're living in a world now where
no more.
Should I say this? Yes, we're living in a world now where you can speak things into existence. So I just want us to be
think we've always
mindful.
It's true.
But,
manifesting. You can manifest whatever you dream.
Manifest.
Unmanifest if you catch it early.
Want us to be careful because folks is getting doxxed about what they say around these parts.
Jesus Christ.
You know, they looking for a reason when it comes to Black folks. But I digress. We are not going to lend our platform to that. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about sex education, liberation, and shame elimination when it comes to talking to our children about their sexual health. Our guest is Kim Baker. She's from our favorite city, Houston. She's the founder of Own Every Piece. And she's a sexual health educator when it comes to young folks. So very, very excited to talk to her today. So that'll be our topic today. And today is a regular show. We're going to start with our church announcements, praise reports, prayer list requests, and then we'll roll into our mac and cheese, and then we'll round out with Black Mama Say.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So let's get into the responsive reading. Can I get a card number?
You want to do it, Nikisha?
10.
You know, one day.
10.
We never picked 10.
One day. Oh, multiples of 5. You know, I'm feeling that. Oh, Ray.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. Let's see what this card say. Okay. This is a good chord. Let me hold it up.
Tell the people what it say. Say.
This card says, lay your burdens on the altar of love. You know who wrote this card?
¿Quién?
Nikisha. Yeah,
Nikisha
Nikisha wrote it.
this
Yo.
part.
Dear Mama, this next part of 10. Thea, numbers, please.
I think that goes back. You know.
Now, you used to really be on it with these numbers. These last couple of episodes.
There's certain numbers I'm better at. I mean, it's 1.
It is 1. It is 1.
0, because 1 plus 0 is 1.
Let me see if I can I'm going to look down
I'm one
at
of
my phone.
1. I'm the only one.
I'm concerned.
No, Nikisha,
I'll be better for next week.
Take it, Nikisha. Nikisha's going to look that up.
Completion, foundation, or new beginnings.
Foundations, new beginnings, foundation. That's what I was. That's what I was trying to say.
That's what I
meant. That's what I meant.
Okay, friend. Okay, friend. Okay, friend. Dear Mama, this next part of the journey is going to require all of you, your fullest self. Take the time you need to unburden, to shed the weight of yesterdays that has been holding you back, slowing you down. Rest in love, be rejuvenated in joy. Keisha wrote this card before the joy word. Like, this is so interesting to me, like how we were speaking these things.
Yes.
Okay. Be rejuvenated in joy, gird up in peace. Go, Mama, go.
That was for me. I said that.
That was for me. No, bitch, that was for me. No, bitch, that was for me.
Future self. Okay,
that was for me. That was for me, bitch.
You were just counseling me on this before we hit record. You were just saying this.
But I too need to be girded. I too need to be girded.
You too need to be girded.
I too need to be girded.
You too need to be girded.
I too need the girding. I need the girding.
We can all get it.
I got a corner to you with that one. I was like, ooh.
We be writing.
I gotta flip open
we
that
be
card.
writing the cards. We be writing the
cards. Future us. If we don't talk to nobody else,
we
be talking to future us.
That's true.
For real.
We really need to write a book.
We should do a damn Black Mama's book.
We should, but books are hard to sell.
Books are hard to sell. Books are hard to
sell.
Get published.
But do y'all want a book from Them Black Mamas? Let us know. Let us know if y'all want a book from us. Let us know.
We got
Black women do read.
We do.
If nobody reads.
We do.
In this uneducated ass country, we read the most.
Yeah, we read the most. Okay, and our ancestor quote for this episode is from Audre Lorde. The essay "Poetry is Not a Luxury" from the book Sister Outsider. Our children cannot dream unless they live. They cannot live unless they are nourished. And who else will feed them the real food without which their dreams will be no different from ours? If you want us to change the world someday, we at least have to live long enough to grow up, shouts the child. And I chose that because today's episode we're talking about shame elimination. We're talking about liberation and sex education. And I think that I really want us to focus on how this conversation, let me see, what am I trying to say here? Being intentional about what we teach our children. I think sometimes we just think they'll get it. I don't know where we think they'll get it at, but really being intentional, sitting down and having intentional conversations with our children, especially with all. In our last episode, Thea, you talked about an attack on the mind. When we talked about back to school, attacking on mind, and one of those things is the amount of data that's coming at them. So much. It's increased with every generation. With our generation, we have more data than our parents, and they have more than us. And so, really having intentional conversations with our children, not just living in the house with them on a routine. So that's why I chose that.
I love that.
So
that's really
good. Jump into and I'll have the link for that in our show syllabus. So to that essay and also that quote. So let's jump into our church announcements, praise reports, and prayer list requests.
I would do church announcements first.
Okay.
So I love fall. So fall is a time of letting go, but also preparing and starting to get inklings about the year ahead. And I'm full of them right now with the joy work. So I'm really excited about that. So my goal with fall is to help people to just start working on their joy toolkit for 2026. I really want them to go into 2026 like, this is going to be the year I center joy, right? That's the goal. So some of the ways people can do that is to tap into different workshops I may be offering. I just offered one for fall. I'm going to offer another one into the winter. The one-on-one sessions I'm loving so much. And y'all know I had to heal after all those years of therapy. But even doing the aftercare notes, like when I sit with people in sessions and then I put together these aftercare notes that I send them, and I reflect back to them things that they said out of their mouth that they may not even remember they said, like their own quotes. And that work feels really good in the one-on-one sessions. I hope, some of our people here will tap into and use. And then we're bringing back Hoda Sacred Retreats, which Crystal knows personally is probably like my most intensive but most precious way of holding people. Like the way I love to hold people at Hold a Sacred is like the way I wish I could hold everyone. And so we're going to open it back up for 2026. So if you're interested, you'll have the link for the interest form, and hopefully I'll be seeing you on the other side of the world at some point. So Joy on Tap is an offering for organizations or small startup companies that have employees that they would love to offer joy sessions to, that they would love to be able to tap into that, but may not have like unlimited funds to offer like healthcare services. So we do a retainer-based offering to each company that's catered to their needs. And we've done it with a nonprofit organization that we really loved and saw it to be successful. So that's also available to work with groups and companies. There you go.
Okay, so that will be in our show syllabus, so you all can check that out. Thea is also drinking out of the classic Dim Black Mama's mug. We no longer have that. Maybe we should bring the mugs back for like a merch of the mug.
I brought it out, just to make
I
sure
still
people
have the design. Maybe we can do that
when
for
we
the
say
merch
buy
of the
the
mug.
buy the merch, because you don't know how long it'll be.
You don't know how long. You don't know how long.
No one knows the day or hour.
Yeah, and it is like cozy season, so maybe we'll do a mug.
It is coming into that. You take up my colors.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Warm drink season.
Yeah. Okay, Keish, you want to go or you want me to go?
So our family has started a new endeavor to support our community and the folks around us who are in need of housing in this very unstable economy and environment that we find ourselves in. So we will have a series of homes. You may recognize the term rooming house, boarding house. It's an old school term, but it sort of describes what it is. It'll be a home, a collective of completely unrelated individuals who live together to support one another and do life. So we're building a real home atmosphere and giving these people, helping tackle not only the epidemic of homelessness, but also the epidemic of loneliness.
That's amazing. Your family's doing this, Nikisha?
Our family is doing this.
Tell them the name of it.
Nyumbani Rising, and Nyumbani means home in Swahili. It means all the good, all the best things about home. Yes.
Will the home be
we're
in Florida?
Excited. It's in Florida. It's in Florida. We'll have several. We'll open another before the end of this year, but this first one is specifically for seniors who are displaced and have suddenly found themselves without a place to go. And it's popping in there right now. We got ladies in their 60s, men in their 70s. It is popping. They're having a wonderful time.
I wouldn't
it's
say
co-ed.
because
It's
of the
co-ed,
topic,
Crystal. I saw you.
that silver sex is a thing, and that the highest
population is popping.
The HIV rate amongst seniors is higher than younger
Not
folks.
only the HIV rate, the STI rate.
The STI rate, period.
I don't have nothing to do with that, and I don't have any
We're
rules
not tackling
against
all
commingling.
issues.
That's not my thing. I'm just
I
giving
don't
them a
think
space.
I'm not saying you should have rules. I'm just saying
Do
maybe
we
they
provide condoms on campus?
Maybe.
I can do that.
I think that is beautiful. I think that's so great that like you all are doing it as a family.
I'm so excited about this. Like,
the
how
kids
can I help? How can I help? I would love to know
We have
more
a Cash App and Zelle. I will make that available as well. It's completely self-funded. We are here in these streets. Me and the kids are building beds and painting and putting up. It's completely outfitted, fully furnished home, all inclusive, very, very affordable rate. And the people are loving it. The community's loving it and rallying around. We're very excited. So yeah, all the family strengths are coming together. So we'll keep you posted. But Nyumbani Rising 1 is operational with seniors. I definitely see a future one for domestic violence victims, a future one for pregnant women. We're just going to keep doing what to do, whatever the community needs dictate. So,
and we'll have the link for that in our show notes. So my announcements are, the first announcement is our listener our listener episode recording is coming up. We do a listener episode once a year where our listeners can join us inside on the mothership, inside the Black Mama Magic Room, and like actually be on the show with us talking about things. And that'll be on Thursday, November 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. We're only picking 5 listeners. So go ahead, sign up, and we'll do like a little drawing. We're only picking 5. We're only picking 5. We're only picking 5. So go ahead, sign up, and then we will announce who those people are, and we'll contact you. You'll get the show link. Even if you can't be on, you can still be on the mothership. You just won't be in the Black Mama Magic Room, but you can be on the mothership, in the audience, chiming in the chat. It'll be a fun little show.
You'll be at the club. You just won't have bottle service.
There you go. I
like it. I like it.
My last announcement is like a praise report and what I'm calling what did I call it here? Praise report and tip in these times. So listen, if you are feeling down and out, if you feel like you can't focus, you're losing direction, what you need to do is turn
I know what this is. I know it.
The Wiz
soundtrack. Do you want me to get the album cover?
I was in the car with my son and I said something about You Can't Win. And I was like, where's that from? Oh, wow. Wow, Thea. Oh, yes. That's worth a lot. For the people who aren't watching on YouTube, Thea has the vinyl and she's showing people the vinyl. So I told my son, and we were in the car doing something, and I don't know, I said, You Can't Win. And I said, where's that from? And he did not know. That's a story for another day.
And you...
I was shocked.
How did you fail to forgive yourself?
But I know that they've seen it, so I don't understand. So it took me on this deep dive, and I like found the Wiz soundtrack on streaming, and I never really I paid attention to the lyrics, but this time they were just hitting different, and that's how I found out Luther wrote Brand New Day, because I was like, who wrote these songs? A man named Charles Smalls wrote these songs. And the lyrics to these songs, specifically, if you are feeling down, you feel like you're losing direction, you feel like your purpose, you're not believing as deeply as before, I'm gonna give you what you can start with. You can start with Brand New Day if you want. You can. Everybody look around. That kind of gets you up, gets you going. Okay, so that can get you going. But if you really want to start and bring yourself up, start with Diana Ross singing Believe in Yourself.
Oh.
Then that moves to the Lena Horne, Believe in Yourself. And then it ends with Home.
List right quick.
There's a lyric in Believe in Yourself where she says, believe in yourself. Well, Diana Ross says.
Who's she, Diana or Lena's?
Well, both of them. Diana Ross says, believe that you can make time stand still. And then she says, believe in yourself. No, I think Lena Horne is the one who says, believe in yourself, not because I told you to, but believe in yourself because I believe in you. Let me tell you.
Yes.
It's facts.
Oh, that's good.
This will get you through, y'all. As Thea said on one of our other episodes, we have got to live as though we're going to make it through this moment. This will get you through, y'all. I have the link for it in our show notes. But those 3 songs, those 4 songs,
she's not wrong.
You know,
also, if you will, Be a Lion does something to me.
Be a lion.
Be a lion. Be
and
a lion.
If you want to stay up, you could do. Another one. If I could feel.
If I could feel.
But if you want to stay up, you can do. What would I do?
Tell me what
I can tell somebody's been listening to it on repeat.
We've been listening.
Yeah, but
this is fantastic advice, Crystal. I'm gonna get it right now.
Yeah, so like get on that because we gotta
buoy.
We gotta buoy.
We gotta buoy. We gotta rally and we gotta buoy.
We gotta rally. We gotta buoy. So those are our church announcements, praise reports, and prayer list requests.
Yes.
If you are watching us on YouTube, don't just look at us. Subscribe.
Yes.
Okay. And share this episode with at least one person who you feel can benefit from it. Sharing is not only caring, sharing is how and why we build community. And if you're not signed up for our newsletter, sign up for it, because this show only comes out twice a month. Our newsletter once a week, so you're more likely to find out about stuff in the newsletter before it hits this podcast. So that's all I got. Are we ready to move into the mac and cheese?
Let's get it.
Yes, let's do
Let's
it.
move into the mac and cheese. Okay, everybody, we're back with the mac and cheese, and our guest is here. So we're going to be talking about sex education. Let me get it right. We're going to talk about sex education, liberation, and shame elimination. Okay? Yeah, I know. That's good. That's good. That's
Help
good.
me out.
This is our guest sent those specific words in. And, just a little confession. This episode is really for me because I just made a confession. I am struggling to talk to my sons. I didn't struggle with my daughter, but I'm struggling to talk to my sons about sex, sexual health. In one of our episodes, I talked about having a catastrophic parenting.
And not wanting them to be fuckboys. Which is why I'm like, how did we not have this?
Here?
But I was thinking like,
well, see, because I don't necessarily talk to them about sex as much as I talk to them about like how they treat people, and this is patriarchy, and this is sexism, and this is toxic. But I'm not having the conversations about sexual health. You see what I'm saying? Definitely not having conversations about pleasure.
We'll see what Dr. Kim says, because I think conversations about pleasure are good for having conversations about consent.
You're right. And
Absolutely.
You're right.
And then
listen, you're not
fucking
wrong.
the patriarchy as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to calm
You're
down. You
not
got to read the
wrong.
bio.
I'm just struggling.
Okay.
I'm struggling. Okay,
Tell
let
the
me read
people
the bio.
who Kim is.
Okay,
Tell
yes.
people.
Okay, let me tell people who Kim is. Okay. Kim Baker is our guest. Kim Baker is a woman of many talents and roles, a principal investigator, assistant professor, and assistant dean of practice. A leader in the sexual health space, she's been a known advocate for accessibility and equity. I think that's really interesting because I don't know if I've ever spoke to someone who talks about sexual health and equity, but I think in this new time that's coming up more. But sexual health and equity. When she's not advocating for reproductive health, she's a leading voice in racial injustice. She is the founder of Own Every Piece, a multi-partner system level interventions to increase access to contraception for women. And it's a fantastic, that website is fantastic.
Thank you.
She has also developed sexual health interventions informed by community needs targeting males,
There you go.
faith institutions, and health providers. She is the co-founder of Full Circle Strategies Consulting Group, a firm that works with agencies across the nation to facilitate anti-racism change within their teams through strategic planning, training, and coaching. She also serves as the vice president of the board of directors for the Jacob and Therese Hershey Foundation. She received a Bachelor of Science in Biology from Hampton University. Do you need to do your call?
Go ain't you?
Okay.
Real ain't you? To say your call.
And a Master's of Public Health from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. From leading teams who are dedicated to advancing reproductive health, to teaching graduate students, to training those same students with public health practice skills, she does everything with grace, a steadfast vision, and fortitude. When she's not doing all those things, she's helping her kiddos with the last-minute pre-K and elementary school projects, or watching the latest episode, Nikisha, you're going to love this, Love After Lockup.
Oh,
yes, that is my show. One of them.
Because everybody needs a guilty pleasure.
I'm telling you, man,
Girl, I
that
had
is
to
the
stop.
best trash TV.
I had to
It's
stop.
I did
so
stop.
You had to
horrible.
stop watching. Y'all stop
I'm a few
watching.
seasons behind.
I think I'm coming back.
Yeah.
Same.
It
Okay.
is. I think I stopped when the lady was in the bathroom doing the drugs, and the guy was like, "She's been in there for so long." I was like,
yeah, that was a while ago.
That was a while. I was like,
it was like a spiral.
That was. I
It's-
can't.
The level of denial is really fascinating.
The level of
I love
denial
it. I love it.
on that show. It's a study for sure. It's a study for sure. Okay, so we're going to start with our signature question. Where were you 10 years ago, and did you think you'd be where you are right now? And just a little perspective. So 10 years ago, Barack Obama was president. And
10
we
years
were
ago.
heading into
Second term.
Yeah.
We were heading
Yeah.
into the 2016 election. So just to give you
Yes.
like some
Okay.
perspective. So
I
yeah.
need the
Yeah.
I need the memory. Like take me back.
Yeah.
Like walk me
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's such a good question. I think 10 years ago, I would say, oh, I'm gonna split it. I'm gonna say yes and no. Yes, because I was definitely in postpartum. My daughter was was preparing to turn 1 in October, and we're talking about 2015. And that was nothing that I could had ever be prepared for, right? And also newly married. I am now divorced, 10 years, 8 months post-divorce, right? Congratulations. And we can
No, I was
celebrate
about to
that.
say,
That's
congrats.
not,
You know I do.
yeah, we can celebrate.
As
Okay,
I
we
do.
can celebrate
I
that.
do. Let's do that.
I do.
And so,
I wait to see if
that
you
was,
celebrate, and then if you say, yeah,
yes,
I'm right there. Yeah.
absolutely. And so that is the piece that I think I wouldn't have thought
Mhm.
I was gonna be here, but I definitely needed to be here at this point, right?
I like
Like for
that.
myself, for my kids, and then just for more to come, right? And so I feel like I'm in a space now, a transition. My God, 10 years ago was a huge transition for me. And I feel like now, like I'm in this other transition.
Wow.
And it's exciting. I'm so glad we're talking about sex education and liberation and all the things today, because I feel like things have come full circle too. Now that my daughter is in puberty and 10. And I will say one of the things that I was so excited about becoming a parent, it's going to sound crazy for some, but maybe not for my sexual educators out there. But I was so ready to get her to be like this sex ed advocate, like
Yeah.
from
I
an
get
early
that. I can get
age,
that. Yeah.
you know? And now just kind of, I think she pushes me in so many ways that I would not have imagined. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, I think that's a
great.
beautiful answer. And I think it's an inspirational answer for this time period to say that you're in transition. I think on our last episode, we were talking about the impermanence of this moment in time. So to be excited that you come full circle and that you're in transition at this moment in time, I think a lot of people are going to hear that and feel inspired. Like,
Yeah.
we can, I don't know. I think there's a lot of fear right now because of the lack of stability. So to hear someone be like, I'm in transition and I'm excited and I'm having a full circle moment right now.
And you know what? If I can add to that, just to say like I am scared. Like I am scared. But I'm like accepting it. Like I'm just leaning and sitting in all the discomfort. That's like, things are shaking, things are moving. How am I growing though? Like, what am I learning? Like, what's coming up? Like, oh, Kim, pay attention to this. Or because you totally glossed over that 10 years ago, 5 years ago. If we're being honest, 20 years ago, like going back to my own adolescence. And so like all those things, I'm just trying to like carry it together.
Oh, that's a great. We had a tip earlier in the episode, so I think that's a great tip for people. Like you are scared, but you're also leaning into the moment. So, as I was saying, so this episode is kind of for my education because I am struggling.
Let's talk about this struggling. Because you know what? When you were mentioning with your son, it's interesting because typically we struggle with our daughters.
I didn't struggle with my
talking about
daughter.
these.
With my daughter, I was like you. I
And
was like,
so,
I want my daughter to be confident in her sexuality and what she's seeking and her sexual pleasure. But with my sons, I'm very fear driven, and it's all about not harming anyone. And so I don't even think we, like Thea was saying, like I don't even think we get to the pleasure part.
and all that.
Yeah. Okay, so in our last episode, we talked about all this data that's coming at kids, right? And so my first question is, how have shifts in access to information or lack of access to information, because we're also in a time period where information is being banned, like book bans and things like that.
Yeah.
How have those kinds of things impacted the conversations that parents are having with their teens, or how kids are approaching the conversation or receiving the information? Does that make sense?
Yes, and I
No,
would
it
add, or
does.
lack
Yeah,
of
go ahead.
accurate information.
Yes.
That's
Or
good,
lack
Thea.
of,
Good
so they're
point, Thea.
getting a lot of data, but it's not accurate.
Good
So
point.
It's
that,
inaccurate.
Good point.
I think we have seen an accelerated pace of that. And when I speak about adolescents, children, youth, in terms of sexual health, I'm talking from, 5 up until college age. And so, there's appropriateness for each level. But in terms of like what they've had access to, I feel like we have seen an acceleration of speed, of inaccuracy and accurate information, which I think for many parents, it can feel overwhelming. Even before we had this acceleration, there's this difficulty of like, when do I start? What do I say? How do I say it? What if my young person asks me a question and then I don't want to, my own shame comes up, or I wasn't taught these things. And folks can approach it from very different ways. I do feel like there are more tools out there available, but there's just an awareness of access of, what might work for me and what makes the most sense. But we are competing against so much noise, so much noise, as you called it, data. And it gets difficult at times. It truly does. I mean, I think about my own daughter, who is 10, she'll be 11 in October, and on TikTok, right? And she'll be sitting right there next to me, scrolling on TikTok, and I'm looking and saying, what's this on your now? Now let's pause and let's talk about what we just saw or what we just heard. There are times that the Black mama from my Black mama will come out and I'll just say, shut that off. But most times, like, no, let's engage in a conversation, especially if it's something that comes up that I don't think is necessarily appropriate, or if I want to seek for understanding about how she's feeling, if it's attached to gender roles or anything in terms of she wouldn't be able to interpret it on her own, and she's going to need my help and guidance to kind of like think a little bit more clearly when she sees other things come up like that. And so, and that's so much on the parent to do that type of work. It's a lot, but it's necessary.
So we talked about 5. What I have found is the first barrier for parents engaging this is not wanting to see their children as sexual beings, right? So understanding that you're a sexual being from the time you're born to the time you die is like the first thing that you have to understand. You have to accept it. Like, if you don't accept it as a parent, when you started off at 5, I was like, yep. I remember getting these books from my daughters when they were like 5. I was so excited. It was age appropriate, and it starts with teaching them about their own body and how their own body feels,
Yes.
But the biggest barrier to even getting parents to do that, to start that conversation, is there's like this puritanical idea about not exposing your children to sex, when the truth is your children are sexual beings. So I'll give you an example that's a little uncomfortable. So walk with me, Dr. Baker, and you might have seen this too, is like kissing cousins.
Yeah.
Right? So kids will be exploring if they're in the same age group, if they're like cousins or friends, they'll be exploring. Now, when you're working in systems, they're like, oh my God, like sexual abuse. But it's, you gotta be careful.
Yep.
That's actually kids exploring things they're starting to feel as they get.
I'm getting a little tight.
You need to pause. Okay,
I'm a little
You're
tight.
sitting in that discomfort.
Dr.
No, that's
Baker,
good. But what you're talking
soothing
about
and
is,
soothing.
soothing, skin, crave. Like, this is like,
These are the
touch
realities, man.
this happens. And I think when you're saying 5, especially when you're talking about that book, that is so important, because we absolutely teach our young ones, like, of course, good touch, bad touch, but like names of body parts. The goal really that early is that they should have some type of autonomy and control over their body. I mean, consent starts that early for them. And And I know we get uncomfortable when we start thinking about, well, like my 6 year or 7-year-old was rubbing and kissing and touching with a cousin, right? Or like a family friend that's the same within the same age. But, and, sexual development, and we learn that is part of normal development.
Yeah.
When it becomes abnormal, right? We're talking about gaps in ages.
Yes,
We're talking about manipulation.
yes.
We're talking about coercion.
Yes.
We're talking about secrets.
Yes.
And, and that type of damage. And so that's why it's so important to talk about
tease
consent
that out.
Crystal, you need a
tease that
minute?
out early.
You need a second,
Go ahead.
Crystal?
Go ahead.
Crystal.
Hey, everybody. I just want to pause us for a second right here for clarity and some context, because I don't want the message of what Kim and Thea are trying to communicate to be missed. So it's important for us to have age-appropriate conversations with our children about their bodies, autonomy, and sexuality, because we want them to feel comfortable coming to us with questions and curiosity. And if something is happening to them that doesn't feel good or that's outside the realm of normal play for kids their age. And sometimes when those conversations aren't happening, kids may explore that curiosity in other ways with other children within their proximity. So I don't want it to be misconstrued or miss what's being said here, that it's just like, oh, it is what it is. Don't worry about it. That's definitely not what they're saying here. So just wanted to offer some context and clarity. And please check our syllabus for more information and resources about normal play among young children. Okay, back to the episode. This
hands, bitch.
That's my cue. That's my cue when I'm like, whoa, this is a lot. Didn't expect to land here this early. Didn't expect to land here, but we're here. The family friend, exploring.
Or cousin. Say it.
Exploring with your girl is struggling.
Some families don't let friends be over. They just let cousins be over.
But here's the thing. So the family friend thing, that doesn't make me uncomfortable, exploring with the family friend. I think the reason that the cousins thing makes me uncomfortable is, of course, the stigma around that idea, but also being from the South. People think that of us, like, and so I'm, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I would hear
stereotypes.
The stereotypes.
We're not talking about adults, though.
Kids exploring.
No.
Kids exploring.
No. People think that about, like,
people think that about the South when it comes to adults.
No, people think that about the South when it comes to kids.
Really?
Are people thinking about this at all? Are people thinking?
I think about it.
I have heard people from different parts be like, "Cause you know how y'all get down when y'all little with your cousins," and I'm like,
"Oh, I ain't never heard."
Me either.
I never heard
neither.
That.
From the South, me neither.
Nikisha, there you go. You pull the South out of your ass when it's convenient. One day you're not, when it's convenient, you're from North Carolina. The next day you're not really from the South.
I just want to say, as a Northerner,
I do want to say these are good points, though.
Now I have heard. Here's what I'll tell you. I've heard it thinking about adults, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I think of white people.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
I think some cousins.
Yeah.
Is that right?
White folk.
Now, we don't have the science behind that. We ain't got no data, but I'm just telling you what comes to my mind. And I think the reason it's important to talk about it is because parents act like it's not happening. Like not just that particular incident, but that their child isn't feeling something. And then that's going to be explored whether or not you guide that exploration.
Yeah. And I think that is the point, because what you always want is your young person to be able to come to you when that does not feel okay anymore. Or something else has entered that's just not something that, we're not playing. This isn't like a game. And that's not okay. And so having those conversations early on lets them know that they can come and talk to you or open that conversation or ask questions, right? Or if you're asking them questions, they're being honest with you to have a conversation to make sure that they're still safe.
So two things I want to tease out. You use the term touch crave. Is that what you said? Touch crave?
I said skin crave. You have babies and you put the baby, got to put the baby on your that skin crave never goes away for us,
Skin crave and
right?
touch
Until we
hunger.
leave this earth. Yeah, and touch hunger. Yeah.
It's so real.
And it's just and it's real. And it's like, what we try to do is manage it during adolescence. And that's part of like separating sex and intimacy too for our young people. For parents, intimacy so much is connected to sex for young people. And so that's managing that. Like, the goal for many parents is like, my kid is just not going to have sex. And how can I stop sex? Right? Versus there are other normal processes that you are aware of that you're trying to stop, manage, and control. Intimacy, hugging, skin craving. I mean, there are studies where you'll see like fathers will stop hugging their kids at a certain age just because it's like, oh no, that I don't want it to be something it's not. And we have kind of like crossed our gears there in terms of just what intimacy is versus sexual intercourse. Totally different.
So you feel like
that's so good.
So
that's so good.
So this is good because I don't think that I have. It's just very different with my daughter. But with my sons, I'm definitely not having conversations about intimacy. How do we introduce conversations about intimacy? Because I think like when we think about having conversations about sex, we're talking about for lack of a better word, the nuts and bolts of it. This is intercourse. This is
the logistics.
The logistics of it.
I'm just going to jump in just as a little bit of a different. We're going to let Dr. Kim give the actual answer.
Okay.
But so first of all, y'all remember I didn't want to have any of these talks with my daughters at all. Not never.
I
was
Auntie
very uncomfortable
Thea.
about the thought. Auntie Thea, I'm going to tell you about it. But as we grew together in the idea of these things, it became really clear to me that I needed to, because they're homeschool, Kim, and they don't have a lot of outside exposures at all. They're very, very sheltered. It became apparent to me that I had to be the one to introduce all these topics, all these things, to make sure that they were well equipped when they go out into the world. And so to answer your question, Crystal, I use a lot of media. We've been watching Forever together. We talk about the scenes. We talk about how those two, the main characters, interact with each other, connect with each other in different ways. We haven't even gotten to the sex scene yet. There's all sorts of intimacy between the two main characters in the show. And we talk through without sex. We talk about meeting some of those physical needs and how intimacy is such a broad spectrum. It's a lot before sex actually occurs and even after the sexual act. And so media is helping me through that, Crystal. That's a tool.
There's so many things I want to say about this, y'all. I want to keep my intimacy and pleasure and how teaching about those things actually, for me, prevented the sex that I was worried about them having. Teaching them about intimacy and pleasure
I think
early,
that's true.
then I didn't have to worry about them having the kind of sex that would put them at risk or make me afraid. So, but that goes back to, I'm not going to leave this 5-year-old alone. That goes back to when that 5-year-old starts expressing sexually and you start to see that, how you hold that as a parent, how you respond to that is what introduces the idea of shame. It's so important. It's so important.
And a perfect example would be masturbation. Can we say that?
Yes.
This is in Black
And
Mamas.
so just thinking of Crystal's.
But you thinking about your child masturbating is a different.
I have a 7-year-old son.
I believe it makes your sight better. That's my belief.
Okay. All right. Okay. But like how we respond to if we see a young child touching themselves, right? And not shutting it off, but then giving parameters.
Yes,
like, I know what you're doing, may feel good, or you're feeling sensations you've never felt before. That might be something that you need to do in the bathroom or in the privacy of your own room.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
never in public, not in school, just, and it be that simple.
Yeah.
And it does
No
not
shame.
give them no shame. And it does not give them, it gives them permission to like make themselves feel good.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. When we teach them about intimacy and pleasure, they're not seeking negative sexual experiences for that thing.
Yeah.
And so they're not jumping to that because they know that there's all these other things. There's trust, there's kindness. Oh, yes. Girl. I remember the big debate. Maybe it had to have been 10, 15 years ago, especially in schools in Houston where I was doing sex ed. And that, kids in high school couldn't hold hands.
Yeah.
And it was a big debate about
Really?
that was it was just too much.
You can't do that.
If
Why
you do
holding
that,
hands?
then they're gonna
Like
fuck.
you must be having sex if you hold hands.
They're having oral sex in middle school, though.
Yeah.
But
So what
also
you
in the
not allowing
bathroom.
them that form of intimacy safely, then they're gonna, like, the cravings get bigger.
In South Carolina, that's like when I was in high school, that was PDA, and like you couldn't hold hands. And when I was in high school, like you couldn't hold hands. It was
I will say
the
this is not
craziest thing
something
to
you
me.
see in other countries, though.
And
Exactly.
Other countries that like intimacy, physical touch amongst doesn't matter the genders, doesn't matter, like that is so encouraged. And we see less violence in a lot of those places.
True. My mom saw me as a sexual being. Like she was very clear that I was a sexual being. She normalized, wanting to be curious as a teenager. She completely normalized that. I normalized that with my daughter as well. I was like, the first person who should look at it, the first person who should touch it, the person who should know what makes it feel good is you. I encourage that masturbation because that's like knowing your body, and I can encourage that type of intimacy with her. But I just don't know what the block is. Like everything that you all are saying is making sense to me. But with my sons, and also with my sons, I do feel like I started the sex education piece at potty training, really. Like your body, body autonomy, like what does this feel like? I talk to them a lot about predators, and sometimes someone can be a predator and they can touch you and it can feel good. Sometimes when kids are abused, I think we have this idea that it feels bad, but sometimes it can feel good to the child, right? Or the person, which is confusing.
Which
but
is confusing
I'm not
for them,
really sure where the block is when it comes to my boys and having those conversations about intimacy. Like Nikisha, when you were saying watching forever, I would totally watch that with my daughter, if she was but with my sons, it's like, oh God, this sex scene is coming up. Oh,
How old are your sons?
I have an 18-year-old and I have a 16-year-old.
16 and
yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know.
She's saying, get on that, Crystal. Get on it.
Yeah, I know.
You have created a space where your boys
do.
you will
I
talk to you
think
about
you explained it.
everything.
Yeah.
They're more
I
than
started
happy
the conversation
to do
about
that.
consent early too. Like you have to ask someone if you can hug them. If I want to hug you, I have to ask you if I want to hug you. So those conversations happen, but I don't know. Maybe I have the.
You have.
I've
You've
witnessed
laid a
you.
really good foundation.
You really have.
And I'm so glad that Forever was made, because that is a
Yes.
really good way to sit and watch that with your young person, like really and truly. Like there's so many different pieces, whether it's on healthy relationship, communication, trust, sex. Y'all know one of my favorite parts, and some of my friends kind of rolled their eyes at me, but I did not care, was when I guess they were on Martha's Vineyard, and then it was like the time, like the first time.
Oh, yeah. In the barn?
Yeah.
Oh.
In the barn. And it was like, do you know how many people had their first time
in a car?
In a fill in the blank. In a fill in the I think in a fill in the blank. And they made it so lovely and so beautiful and so intentional.
And how they painted that in terms of like what a healthy, even a healthy sexual experience should be like, and leading up to that.
And even
so I
like
think
that
that's
very
important
first time when Justin went to Keisha's house and it was so awkward and it was, like even, which is also very real. And they were able to have a conversation with it afterwards. We often build that moment up in our heads of what that first time is going to be like based on things that we see on TV or visuals or whatever. But it was a really awkward moment, that very first try. And then the second time, was much, more comfortable.
Yeah. But even the conversation afterwards, I like, especially in straight relationships, I feel like kink community has way more tenderness and intimacy with these things than we do in like straight or non-kink communities. That, to me, that conversation afterwards is an example of aftercare, which is like checking in with each other. We grew up to be women and men and all kind of gendered people who can't give feedback about Like, I like this, I don't like this. We will sit in something that doesn't serve us for long periods of time because we struggle with how to have that conversation. Whereas in the kink community, it's like so normalized. Up front, we talk about what I like and what then we play and explore. And then afterwards, we check in. Did you like that? Did you not like that? That is fucking amazing.
I know.
That brings out
it's
the
almost
anxiety.
like ordering a pizza. You know, it's like, what you want on yours? This is what I like.
And if you have sons and you're feeling like Crystal, which I'm sure a lot of people are, one of the best ways to understand and make sure your son isn't like a harmful man in the world is to have these sexual conversations. Young boys are stopped being touched, period, by everybody at a much younger age. Everything that they do is hypersexualized or seen through a sexual lens. In this country and certain Western countries, with young boys, that means they lose friends sometimes. The bonds between them, the actual physical bonds between them and other men and other friends are broken. The bonds between female friends are broken, family members, because there's nothing nurturing that. Like physically they need it. And then they only can get it. Here are the acceptable versions. Sports.
Right.
Teens, military, these are the only options for actual like affections, and that they should enjoy it, right? I think the other thing, the myth that we grow up with too, is that men just enjoy sex. I've talked to a lot of men who are like, I don't enjoy that. We think if they come, they enjoy it.
That's
physiological. That doesn't mean that they enjoyed it. So men need to understand that that they're not sexual machines that just go, that they do have different things that stimulate them, that they do deserve for those pleasures to be like talked about and discussed, and that they can have more pleasurable sex. Because then you understand that my partner and I having pleasurable sex is the best version of sex we could all imagine. And also, I would say this last part, you don't know your actual sex drive until you have emotional and physical intimacy, not sex. Like, I think our sex drives can be driven by the loneliness, by the skin hunger, by the things you mentioned. And so we're like, I need sex all the time. I have been there. I have been that. But then once I've experienced like emotional intimacy, affection, and it's on a regular basis, I noticed that my appetite for physical sex shifted, changed, and it was like, it's great when it happens, but I also feel like satiated and satisfied all the time. So it's not necessarily this thing that I'm like, I need in that capacity. You know what I'm saying? And I think we have to think about lessons we didn't learn till adulthood. And through how many bodies and through how many relationships. We can save our kids from that. We want to save, please, save the children.
I do want to talk a little bit about, well, first I want to say, with the masturbation piece, just a little tip. Make sure you tell your kids to wash their hands first. It's very...
Especially if you have boys.
Especially if you have boys. Well, you should wash your hands first.
I was going to say, especially girls.
You should wash your hands no matter what. But, I mean, girls tend to be more on top of washing their hands.
Okay.
You should... I'm just saying, you wash your hands before you start. Yes. But I think the other thing that... that the part about... the skin crave, and that if you're satisfying those things, then you're not like, I want the sex, I want the sex, I want the sex. I believe that. I know that is true and how comforting that could be. But I don't think people really believe that about young people. I think I don't know if people really believe that about young people, that would be enough for them.
I don't think we trust them enough to know that. Again, it's about, we're just trying to stop sex. When I say we, what if it's the adults in their lives, if it's the people who are authority figures in their lives, the goal is to try to stop sex from happening. And so to be able to say...
we feel...
To prevent pregnancy, right?
To prevent pregnancy, like it's very,
100%
a negative frame, right? To prevent pregnancy, to prevent STD. I mean, I think about the work that I do in public health, which is why I was so glad that we were able to launch Own Every Piece. If I could just talk a little bit about how that started.
Yeah, go ahead.
It came out of work we were doing in high schools and communities where they didn't have access to healthcare, contraception, STD testing, treatment, right? Numbers were high. And so we wanted to make sure that we can put school-based clinics in their high schools.
Mhm.
That was
Wow.
a super duper success. Like people were
Wow.
excited. Like, you know, you had people who had got an annual pap smear, right? Like young women, maybe 17 and 18, that were sexually active. So just like routine healthcare. This is also when we were working in churches, because there was a church on every block in these communities. And they said, if you want to start having contraception in high school, you go talk to the churches. And so we did. But we were welcome there. Like the church mothers and secretaries were like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're talking about this, because you're not only talking about contraception, but healthy relationships, consent. But we had parents that would come and like kind of pull us to the side and say, do you have something like this for women or adults?
Really?
Because we didn't get any of this, especially when thinking about consent and they're thinking about the relationships that they're in. I think what you mentioned, Thea, something about aftercare and then consent and then what they want. And it's like, I've never felt like I can say, this is what I want or this is what I need in my relationship and in my partnerships. And so we were able to reframe that whole conversation and on every piece, something that we haven't been able to do, particularly in public health, with, you know, federal funding and kind of pushes just that was so very like disease frame focused or the prevention of pregnancy focus, which is rooted in shame within itself, right? Like
That's
it's
what I
like
was getting to.
we think,
It's the stopping. I want to stop sex is rooted in an outcome that as a parent you would be ashamed of. If my child got pregnant, if my child got an STD, that is all of that stopping is rooted in that.
Absolutely. When it's just like, these are normal things that we should be preparing our young people for their health care, to advocate for themselves, to be able to get to a provider at some point that is quality. You need to be practicing these steps, and allowing us to do that through sexual and reproductive health in their teen years is really a good start. My own personal story, you know, I had an abortion at age 17 on my 17th birthday. The way my mom responded wasn't out of shame. It was just out of, oh, I wish I would have known that you were sexually active, because I would have been able to, like, you know, prepare you for these things. Because she didn't talk about that. And so she was like, but I know, you know, the best thing for you right now may be to have an abortion. Let's drive across the river in Illinois. I'm from St. Louis. You couldn't get an abortion under a certain age. I was 17. And so it was just, her response was just so. Do I have P-Valley fans on here too?
Girl,
Okay, so do
wait,
y'all
I gotta
remember
pause
that?
right here. Wait, I gotta pause you right here because
Okay.
I haven't done this in a couple of episodes. I know y'all have finished taping the season, but I am available for season 4. I am enrolling in acting classes next month.
Come on. Yes.
Katori, call your girl. I haven't
Please call her.
made a
Please
plea
call
in a
her.
couple of
Please call her.
episodes.
She
She is
ready.
ready.
Yeah, I love some
I
P-Valley.
can play
consents.
any part. I can play
Right.
any part.
You'll get
She
on the
says
pole,
that now,
I
but
will
if you
get on
give
the
her certain
pole. No, I'm an actress here. There are no small
Come on.
parts. That's real.
I love it.
What if they
And
wanted
so-
you to play? Would you play a mom or grandmom?
I play a I would love to play a grandma. Somebody call me Big
Okay.
Mama. You know, I want to be called Big
Okay.
Mama so bad.
Okay.
I would love somebody
I've
to call
cleared
me
her.
Big
She's
Mama.
ready. She's ready.
Yeah, I love
Big old
it.
shoes.
Dr. Kim, bring us back. Bring us
Okay,
back.
sorry,
bring us
honey,
back. I
Dr.
just have to put
You
my
But
shouldn't
that
have-
okay,
scene where, you know, Mercedes is taking her daughter to Jackson, the
Yeah.
only clinic in the state. How real is that? They have to drive 3 hours because it was just one clinic. Now, of course, there's no more. I'm just glad that they included that story, because, again, when we frame sex from a shame view, right, we're always thinking about like what we're trying to prevent. And then now we're in crisis mode, right?
Yeah.
Like now we got to drive 2 hours to the abortion clinic or what have you. But if we can prepare, at least let ourselves relax, get some tips, and think about it as like this preparation, like literally adulthood. Literally
Yeah.
adulthood.
Literally
Thinking
adulthood.
about look.
I
And
think
when we
people
think
think that
about
people babies magically turn into adults, and then they like, oh, now they're gonna have sex. Like, what's been happening this whole time? What did you think was happening this whole time?
Yeah.
That's crazy. underneath it all is like the desire for connection, right?
Yeah.
So if you speak to these things, the pleasure and the intimacy pieces, it's so good for, like you're saying, adulthood. It's so good for adulthood. Can I add to that also? When you do pregnancy shame-based sex stuff at all, what if your child's queer? And here's the thing about that. Like, you might be like, woo! You know, my child is gay. I don't have to think about pregnancy. But you do have to think about the fact that their sexuality is demonized and marginalized, and the ways in which they'll get to explore that safely have to look different than a child who is heteronormative. So, you know, I think there's also, when you do that pregnancy shame-based sex stuff, you completely exclude so many kids nowadays identify as queer. They're exploring queerness. They're exploring. So there's a lot going on that we need to catch up and educate ourselves about, so that we can have appropriate conversations with children who are queer around their sexuality, because it's also for them a different identity marker, as well as a different way they have to engage community, engage practice, and stigma.
And their sexuality still may be fluid.
Right.
They still may be
absolutely.
figuring it out. Because we know one of the highest rates of unintended teen pregnancies are among queer youth.
Yes.
So whether
I
it's
did not
societal
know that.
expectations.
No, we did
Run
not know
that
that.
back. Run that back.
Run
Run
that
that
back.
back.
Hold on, what
Say
now?
that stat real clean.
We did not
Say
know
that stat
that.
real-
We did not. Run that back, please. Go ahead.
Unintended, unplanned among queer youth. Just for the reasons that you said, like societal expectations.
Wait, that's the highest.
You know, a fluid, not the highest, but one of the highest. Let's just skip over that population,
You're
thinking
like,
that you
check.
don't have to have a message for them.
But repeat what you said again. Repeat it again. I just want the people to get it.
So they have one of the highest rates of unintended teen pregnancy. Yeah.
I can see it.
And so,
I can see
you know,
Hey y'all, it's Thea with Dem Black Mamas, here to tell you ways to start your joy journey with me this fall. Now, you've heard me talk about joy as a metric for powerful transformation and for healing in your life. So fall is the perfect time to pack and prepare your joy toolkit for 2026. I would say consider one-on-one sessions with me so we can customize your definition of joy, identify your joy barriers, and set some joy goals that are tailored to you and your needs. And last but not least, I'm happy to announce that Hold a Sacred Retreats is starting back up in 2026. We return to the Red Sea for the most immersive joy experience that I offer. But you don't have to take my word for it. Our very own Crystal Tennille Irby went, and you can read all the reviews. So all the links are in my IG bio. They're also in our show notes, or you can just email me at thea@theamonier.com. But I thank you for your trust and for listening. I have a question for you too, Dr. Baker. So because we've established that intimacy and connection are such an essential part of their healthy sexual development, and understanding sex as like more than just the act itself, but that there's sexual satisfaction in healthy communication, being heard, being seen, people knowing what you like, what you don't like all these things. How do we combat that with digital distance and loneliness, right? So for me,
which is, we are like having a loneliness epidemic.
we are. And also though, we're having like the digital, the distance that actually exists is giving folks a sense of intimacy that isn't real. So imagine this, your child meets somebody online. Right. They're talking online. They're having these conversations online. But the digital distance is something that is there. But the ability to just talk about and say things makes you feel more connected and close than you may actually be. I think this is also true in friendships. I've made virtual relationships that were primarily virtual. I'm like, we friends. We know each other. And then in person, I'm like, oh, shit. Like,
really?
Not that, right? So 100%. So I think what happens is if they're building this relationship online, when they meet, they feel more ready for something physically sexual than they may actually be because of the illusion of the intimacy. At times, Mike is like, you know, we're friends, my good friend. And I'm like, how do you know them? I never met them. Oh, we're friends on such and such. And I'm like, oh. Yeah. Part of me would say, they ain't your friend, but I can't. I got to be like, because they will fight to the end of the earth.
Relate to that though, you remember AOL chat rooms and MySpace friends. You remember feeling like you knew that person for real.
That's
Yeah.
such a good point. And it's like, I can take it from so many different ways. One, I am concerned. I'm just concerned about just organic connection
Period.
among young people and how they're not necessarily, or they may not be experiencing it at foundational times in their lives and as they grow and develop.
That's a good point.
And so that is concerning. And so, and that is definitely an issue for intimacy and communication, and just expectations and just like human behavior and observing like who people really are. Like that's a big thing.
Because they can go into
so
adults who don't have that skill.
Who don't have those social cues.
Which we see that. I think that's also tied
sure.
to the increase of people we're looking at who we consider on the spectrum or neurodivergent. They like not being able to read social cues, but these are also iPad babies where their first cues were coming through. I'm like, okay, we're using that term loosely, but there's actually a phenomenon happening under that the term hides, which is that, giving this child an iPad at a young age, and maybe we need to do an episode on parenting and tech, that doing that, it does make it so certain social skills feel irrelevant or obsolete, but are necessary to actually build quality, lasting, long-term human relationships.
But I wanted you to finish your answer, Dr. Baker.
Well, because I was just going to the point, we joke about when you see young people now at, I don't know, social events or gatherings, they're not connecting with each other or dancing together, right? They're in their phones, on their phones. And so I think the only positive part of that I see, and I'm going to be honest, it is such from a public health perspective, is that could prevent the spread of disease.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because they're not connecting with people in close proximity to them. This is what we know just by science and nature. This is how it spreads so fast in isolated communities, because you have one person who then sleeps with three, who then sleeps with five in that community. But once, things are spread out, you see a drop in that. That is the only upside I see into how this shows up in sexual health and relation and connection. We have to get these young people really having them start to feel human connection in a different way. And I don't know how, I don't know how that works. I don't know what that looks like, but I am concerned what that looks like as they grow into adults.
I think Forever,
try to form.
I think Forever is another good example of that. And we talked about this on our episode. We saw through their relationship, we saw their village expand. So the parents knew each other. The families spent Christmas together. It wasn't just that Justin knew Keisha's family and Keisha knew Justin's family. It was Keisha's mom knew Justin's mom. And the parents came to the other parent's house. So we saw this village expand. But also when they were together, it wasn't just Keisha and Justin sitting beside each other on their phones. The family was interacting. So Keisha was doing puzzles. She was cooking. Justin was playing dominoes with her family.
Good,
and so I think that
I'm sure that was intentional. That's good.
That's a way to maybe, like, when you're talking to your kids about building intimacy or the relationship, like, talk to them about what, or when their significant other comes over, engage with them. Do something with them to get them off that phone and kind of build that intimacy. I know our daughter brought her boyfriend home for the holidays, and we played, it gets real intense around here. We were playing Scrabble, and it got really intense, and he was like, I was really on that Scrabble, like that's not a word. Y'all looking it up. Like, that was like a 2.5 hour game. But that was such a good way to get to know him on like a different level than I think a conversation could produce.
Yeah, I think one of the ways we can combat it is we have to have parents who are connected. And, I think that if we're receiving large amounts of data too, and we didn't grow up that way. So it's like a big change for us to try to take in this data. It's overwhelming. And so parents who, Joy Center, Pleasure Center, Intimacy Center, for themselves are more likely to be able to model that and demonstrate that and practice that with their children. Because really the parent modeling these things is really key to it locking in for the kid. You can't tell me that you're, do this and do this, but then I see you doing something completely different. Parenting changes your life and you have to let it. You have to become the thing you want your kids to become.
You know what? I just had an aha moment. Like, I think you all are right. I think I do build that with my kids. So with each of my sons, there's a day of the week where I pick them up from school and it's just us. So like we come home, we play Scrabble, and we're watching Blackish, which always provokes conversations. Now that I look at it, like maybe that's a model for him, like, oh, this is something I can do with someone I want to build a relationship with. I never thought about that as modeling. I just thought about that as like, I want to, well, now that I think about it, like be closer to my son, build intimacy with my sons.
Yeah. And you have to let them know that that's what it is. You have to name it that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, like that this is intimacy. This is connection. You see how you don't feel like anything's lacking?
Absolutely.
This is what you want in all your relationships. You don't want to feel like like you feel like you can be yourself, you're relaxed. Look, your kids be up there, no pants, in your office. They just be up there. They're comfortable.
They're very comfortable in their skin.
They're very comfortable.
Yeah.
But you want them to not just experience it, but you want to name it for them so that they know that this is like the blueprint to use in other relationships. This is, and my daughters teach me that. Like they'll be like, oh, well, that's what you taught us. And they've taught me to, they realized it, but they've taught me to name it. Like, this is what we're doing. This is what this is. And now it's kind of like a demand in their relationship. They'll be like, I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel seen. I don't feel, but it's like they learn that language through, I make sure they're seen. I make sure they're heard. I make sure these things. And now that's the standard for their other relationships, But I do think with sex and boys in particular, like, I can't overestimate and stress the amount of pressure they have to feel like they have to always want sex and like sex. We make them feel like that is a key marker of masculinity, to always want it and to always like it no matter what it is. And them finding out that they have a sexual identity that sometimes they do want it, sometimes they don't want it, that is just natural, normal, that they can listen to their bodies, that their bodies have information for them and are not just these tools, these things to use in the way society tells them. It's really mind-blowing for men. If we honestly think about it, as women watching men, if we watched a man be like, I don't want to have sex, we would think what? Oh, well, something's wrong with me. Yeah. Something's wrong with him. But he just may not want that. He may want to hold hands. He may want to, talk. He may
confess.
Like, what the fuck is this?
I confess.
What is going on?
I confess.
Yeah.
I would be
and then we will be like shaming that.
I confess. I repent. And I confess and I repent. I confess.
I confess and I repent, bitch.
I confess and I repent. So this may get a little dicey, but like, so I don't think my fear with my daughter was, I didn't want her to get pregnant. Yeah. But my real thing was, and I'm a very crass person, I didn't want her to get stigmatized. I wanted her to have enough information where she wasn't stigmatized.
Boom, boom.
And so my question, and I think a lot of people are going to have this question, is there a way?
So first one, this is good.
Let me go. Crystal's saying she didn't want her to be
she didn't want her to be too
under the bitch. She wanted her to make sure she was over.
Right.
She ran.
She could think straight.
She could
lose all rational thoughts.
Yes.
Because you will lose rational thought.
Function.
You will.
And so my question to you, Dr.
I don't know
Baker,
if there's, I'm trying to think, is there a cure for
That's what I'm asking Dr. Baker.
Or would you all have to go through it at certain points in time?
Wait a minute. So my question to you, Dr. Baker, I'm just curious, like, are there tips for that?
Like, can we prevent stigmatization? Now, I know there's cures for it.
There's
cures for it.
So this is good.
There's cures for it. Erica Badu says maybe love will make it better.
I can't even say it.
Stigmatization.
You never heard
Prevent your daughter from getting.
Can we prevent that?
She said it a different way.
There's cures after. There's ways to recover.
Let's
I don't know
be
if there's a prevention.
Not just
or a sign.
Not just girls. Anybody experiencing
But also,
Crystal, on the other hand,
that's what I'm saying.
Having sons,
here's
I was
the
about
thing.
to say,
not
a bitch can put them on them.
Right.
She can put it on
and
them.
not just I'm
I don't know what that's
digmatized,
called.
but also, the son, like the first time he, like
Pussy whip.
are there ways that what
Jesus
can
Christ.
we center? This is okay, here we go. Here's the public health question. Here's the public health
Is it
question.
preventable?
No.
What can we center to make sure that they are aware, like, oh, this is happening to me. This is the cue that this is happening to me. And here are ways that I can possibly get through
You
it.
know what? It's so interesting because what's coming up for me is like we have these conversations about the importance of sex, but we didn't get there yet.
Mhm.
We were just talking about how not to shame
Right.
and how not to like stop it and manage it. But then we also talk about like the importance
The benefits
of
of
it
it.
and the benefits of it and the pleasure behind it and why, it's
Yeah.
everywhere and what that means. And so like and the way it makes your body feel and your mind feel, right? And so preparing them to try to stay in control and be aware that this is an effect of it.
Yeah, I would say this is going to happen.
This
is gonna happen. It's a natural
it's
thing.
almost like a preparation,
You gonna
right?
lose
But
your
it's
mind
like-
for a moment. It's
But I
going.
think-
The first time you taste chocolate, the first time you had your favorite ice cream,
But
you're
I
like,
think-
"Damn, I didn't know this shit existed all my life."
You're so
But I think
funny.
there's like,
You're so
how do you prepare to manage that? I don't know if you can prevent it.
This is it. I don't believe in the
That-
prevention. I think it's the management.
But I think it's
the
the
recovery.
management of
It's
it.
the recovery.
It is the, you feeling like, you're compromising your values. I feel like it's thinking about looking at like healthy and unhealthy
did I compromise
characteristics
some
of a
values?
person and then the connection. And if you feel like you are listing too much stuff in the unhealthy category versus the healthy, then it's
breathe,
time to
bitch.
kind of
Just
like
breathe.
reevaluate that, this isn't somewhere that you would want to be because overall it's like all these pieces. It's not just the physical piece.
Flag on the
So
plate.
this is
Flag
like-
on the plate. Flag
Stop.
on the plate.
The flag.
I love that feedback, Dr.
Wait,
Kim.
did you compromise any values?
That's
Also,
No,
have
that's
you
a
checked your
question.
bank account? Let me add some more tips. Did you check your bank account? The
Like
3
how
days
often
after.
are you texting? Like, are
Did
you
you check
texting
your
this
bank
person
account?
60 times an hour?
Yes. Have you turned in homework assignments? I want to give people real tangible tools. Crystal calls these tangible tools. Have you called out sick from your job?
Are you going to practice?
Have you seen your family?
Yes. Yes.
Have you called your friends?
These are and
These are
this is stuff
tangible
that
tools.
no,
I would
and
just
this is
like-
stuff that you have to carry and build on. Again, this is preparation for
Absolutely.
adulthood.
I think this is really interesting. Y'all who know my oldest understand that this is actually a thing that she has brought to me saying, hey, I know you lose your whole mind when you fall in love and puppy love, nose wide open.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to make sure I'm not out here looking crazy, essentially?
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
this is the same
gonna look
advice.
a little crazy.
Stigmatized, nose wide open, crazy
Yeah.
puppy love. It's all the
Yeah.
same. It's all the same.
I agree with you, Dr. Baker.
Don't lose yourself.
I think we say, listen, something's gonna happen. This is gonna happen.
No, it's not
And
automatically going to happen.
Nikisha, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, Nikisha.
Listen, we gotta
It's gonna
prepare people for the
happen.
right way and the
It
truth.
happened to you,
We
didn't
speak
it,
the truth
Nikisha?
here in
It happened to
DBM.
you.
It happens
Not
to
as a child.
everybody. It happens
not
to
as a
all
child.
of us. It unites
Okay, not
us
as a child, but
humans.
When I was like
But at
grown
some
enough
point.
to make
But
good
at
decisions.
some point, I was grown
When
too.
my frontal
That's very
cortex was
idealistic.
completely
No. It happened to me as a grown person too. My frontal lobe had not fully developed. I will say that.
100%.
But it happened to me
Nikisha,
as an
we
adult.
have to do this.
As much as my mom prepared me, she didn't prepare me for that. And your girl,
In her best outfit. In her best outfit.
Can
All
I
right.
say something though?
Please,
too?
please
we have
help us
fallen
out.
apart. Please. Please.
We
This is
lost
weird
the plot.
shambles.
We
Crystal,
lost the plot.
please.
But this is important because I feel like y'all alluded to this. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be stigmatized. I don't know. Whatever it
It can be
was is
pussy whip.
coming up for me, right? Because I think, like you, Nikisha, I didn't experience that as an adolescent or a teenager or a young woman, but I did experience like multiple male sexual partners. And I'm like, why do I keep going? And like, what is something wrong with me? Like, why I'm just not satisfied, right? And I think now, right, like opening up to my fluidity and my sexuality, just hadn't really been in real connection with a woman yet.
Oh.
And so I
I can
think
see that.
too, we can't gender these experiences for
100%.
young people as well,
Yeah.
because, they may explore things that they weren't intended to,
That's
because they're
good,
trying to
Ida
figure out,
Baker.
well,
That's good.
what's
That's
not
good.
this? Well, that's not
Mm.
happening to me.
Yes,
All my friends
yes,
over here
this is
talking about
true.
how dick is driving them crazy. And let me just see, will one more do it? Will that be the
That's
next one
good,
that
Ida
does it?
Baker. That's
And
good.
it's like, no, it wasn't. But like
Mhm.
now I can say,
Yes, yes, yes. I think
Yeah.
what we're saying to the people is sex at some point
at some
Mhm.
point.
should blow your
Yeah.
mind.
Should.
Yeah.
I do,
Should.
in
Yeah.
whatever way,
Will.
range, or
Mhm.
form, it
Mhm.
should blow your mind. This is something we want. We want people to have
Yes.
mind blowing.
Yes.
Am I
That's
lose my
what's
mind?
important.
I think you're right about the management afterwards, because you have to ask yourself if it's leading you in a healthy direction or if it's leading you in an unhealthy direction. You don't know at the time. There's certain things you have to parameters you put in place to make sure like it's healthy.
Yeah.
As best
for
you
sure.
can. But I do think you're right. We want everybody to have pleasurable, intimate, connected sexual experiences that make you, the next day be like, what the fuck just happened to me? I want that for
Yes.
everybody.
I do.
Yeah.
I do want that for everybody.
I do think there needs to be some scaffolding, first to say, for the aftermath.
I agree.
So that
Right, yeah.
so that you don't run up your credit or
And
whatever the situation may be. Chasing behind, the white horse.
That was the one thing I was unprepared for. I was like,
Yeah.
not prepared.
Yeah.
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 How much of our own personal experience should we share with our children?
What you're comfortable with?
Or do they want to know even,
A lot of them are trying to manage your discomfort. Because they know you. A lot of your kids is like, I'm not asking her that. She's not comfortable with that. I'll avoid
She can't
it at all
handle it.
costs. She can't handle it.
Or
right?
they
I'm
also
protect-
don't see you as
I'ma
parents as
protect
sexual
you.
beings too. They don't
Yeah.
see they
And
don't see parents
so-
as sexual.
I think it's really just as much as you're comfortable with. I would say don't shy away from it because like this fear of judgment, right?
Yeah.
Like stand in truth as best as you can, or like release whatever you need to release to be able to share
Yeah.
with your young person, because I know that stands in the way, especially, in a lot of our work with moms who got pregnant in their teenage years, right? And so it's kind of like, which is why it's so important for us not to come from a shame-based perspective with a lot of this. And so we don't want them to feel like they can't share, that they feel like they did this bad thing and now they had this baby and then I can't tell you what I've learned because I shouldn't have done it anyway. And they'll sit with that until they feel like they have permission to know that I was on this journey. This happened to me. And this is what I want you to know. We can learn some things together
No
and
shame.
grow.
Yeah,
If I don't know the answer, can we figure it out together? Just no shame.
How did the experience of your abortion and your mother showing up for you, how did that shift you all's relationship?
Oh man, it shifted it completely. She started putting condoms in the bathroom. It was like going into my senior year of high school. And so then now it's like this tub of condoms in the bathroom. And now I was going to, an OBGYN regularly. And she was okay. She was comfortable with that. I'd also say 2 years prior, my mom and my dad was divorced, right? So my dad wasn't living in the home and I didn't really have a strong relationship with him, even though I grew up with him around. He was just like an emotionally disconnected person in the house. Do y'all know that day I came home after that procedure, this man showed up on the porch with flowers? I was like,
What?
I
I
remind
love that
him
they
that when I saw
both.
him a few months ago, because we're still trying to figure out what our relationship looks like now. But it was like how both of them showed up. Like I was just like,
Wow.
wow, because
So
this is
good,
also
so good,
during
so
the
good.
time where we, shame, young women for that to happen. Like, how could that happen? And X, Y, and Z and all the things. But I think the way that my parents showed up allowed me to even want to go more so into this field, if I'm being honest, right? Because I'm like, a lot of people need this, and we need to figure out what we're doing wrong and what's happening
there was even something there apparently that you told your mother that you were pregnant, that you told her the position you, because young folks today aren't even talking to their parents.
No, I did not.
Say more.
Did y'all want to hear what happened?
Yes, girl. Did we lean in?
Working
Spill that tea.
Yeah. I was working at the Kiel Center at the time as like the hockey play and the stadium, the arena in St. Louis. And, you had them, at the time we had these uniforms where it was like a blazer and the black pants and whatnot. My pants wasn't really fitting no more. And you had to like order more pants and it comes out your paycheck. And I had to tell my mom, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to work next week because I don't know, my pants is not fitting. And I knew I was pregnant, but I wasn't trying to tell her. I remember her looking at me like, we're going to the doctor next week. That's what she said.
That's what she said.
And then we went to the doctor next week and then she found out I was pregnant. But she knew.
Yeah.
At that moment when she looked at me and saw what was going on with my pants.
So you were not a little bit. You were a little further along in the situation.
Was further, yeah.
What was your plan, baby? What was 16-year-old you
It was like frozen, right? It was like frozen.
I hear a lot of people who get pregnant as a teen, there's a period of denial. Like they can't believe that it's like you go on normal with your life and then you're like maybe once every 2 hours you're like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant. But it's like it's sort of like a denial.
Well, your mother was paying attention. She was tuned in.
Yeah, she was. She was like, we're going to go. We're going to make this appointment, right?
Can I just say something about even that response? Because a lot of moms in that moment would have been like, are you pregnant? Like,
absolutely.
But your mom was like, we're going to go to the doctor. Like, I think that speaks something about her.
She didn't panic.
No, it wasn't a panic. It wasn't like a visceral response. Definitely not the shame, that I thought. But it was like internally, I was like, felt like it was shameful just because it was like,
I'm sure she was experiencing a lot internally too.
Right? It's just, wow. But I think it's interesting that it happened on my birthday because it was the last day that I could have it to where it was like at that late in the pregnancy, right? And so we had to book it on that day, like right then and there.
I think the way that they handled it also, what I like about it is what's important for parents to understand, not just with sex, but with any situation that feels urgent or scary, is that how you handle it also determines what the relationship could look like after that scary event. So they handled it in a way that created deeper connection and deeper intimacy following that, which meant, your sexual journey and your exploration of sex could have that kind of intimate, connected support from your parents. But I don't think we think about that in a moment. We're like panicking, and panic leads to trying to control and all these different things. We're really still in that moment. We're shaping. I, as a parent, will pause and be like, you know what? Give me a moment. Especially if it's really big or if I am having a lot of emotions around it. Give me a moment. Because one thing I have to remember is it's not happening to me. It isn't happening to you. It actually isn't about you. Sorry. It's about the person having the experience, and you can colonize and take that experience from them. I think this happens a lot with sexual trauma too. When people reveal it, it's like co-opted by the people around them and trying to be helpful, but they end up like taking the story and taking the experience away from the person who it happened to because they're trying to manage their own anxiety around it. And I think it's important to give yourself permission to pause as a parent, to not know, to need a moment and make sure you let them know this moment is not about you. I just want to make sure I handle everything well for you. So I'm going to give myself a moment, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this. Yeah. I think it's much better to do that and have the self-control to do that and the self-discipline to do that. And so that's something you could be preparing for as a parent. Like, do I have the self-control? Do I have the self-discipline to respond? Because things will happen throughout their lifetime.
Right.
You need to have control of your own emotions so that you don't, bombard and overtake their experience.
That's good.
I know you in your bio you talked about designing programs where you talk to males. But this could be for anyone. Do you all talk to them about, or in general, talk to adolescents about if they have caused harm to someone in a sexual way, in a physical way, like the repair process of that, or how they handle it? Because I'm thinking about what Thea said, and I think a lot of times we think of our children being the victim of something. But again, raising males, I often think of my child could be a perpetrator. And when Thea was talking, I was like, how would I react in that moment if my son came to me and said, I think I harmed someone? Whereas if my daughter felt she was in danger or she made a mistake, I would definitely be like, okay, wait, I do need a pause. And I could approach it definitely with a little bit more compassion. I struggle to say that if my child was a perpetrator, that I could have that level of, that I could have that kind of response. So do you talk to people about if you feel like you've harmed someone?
So the male program that I was so excited to be able to help develop was developed in collaboration with young males, 16 to 19 young Black males in that same neighborhood where we were working in around the school clinics. And we knew a big chunk of that curriculum was going to be around consent, prevention of dating violence, or just kind of like healthy dating and what that looked like. And so I didn't necessarily go in with like, this is what needs to be. We kind of did some things and worked with them for 4 months. We paid them too as consultants. It was beautiful. And I think what I learned so much about them in terms of that conversation, for many of them, they had no idea if they were in a situation where they were being coercive.
Yeah.
And they may not be in homes where they're laying the foundation about what patriarchy and toxic masculinity. They had no clue. So it was a huge, like, just that in itself, that conversation about what those things are, raised the level of awareness and consciousness within them. And we created a safe space to be like, okay, well, Dr. Baker, so if this does happen, what are we supposed to do? And then that opens up a whole lesson or activity around empathy and understanding, right? And the repair really just looked like communication for them. Because it's like, if I messed up, it's awkward. How do I admit I'm wrong? Or maybe you still like the other person, but they wanted to figure out, like, how do you even talk through this? So it was a lot around communication skills and empathy. But for them, because they didn't have a foundation of what toxic masculinity meant and how we do things, particularly to acquiesce, male desire and for the, and so I think them understanding that put them in a space like, well, dang, okay, well, how can we think about this another way?
I'm glad to know that exists, that kind of program exists.
I find that educating, you know how we have to educate white people about their whiteness? Educating men about their maleness from multiple standpoints, right? Like, you are told socially that you are just a physical body and that your physical body is driven by this, this, and this. And so you don't think about how that person feels because you're actually not even thinking about how you feel. You're not thinking about if you enjoy it or not. And it's so important for them to understand that they can also say they want it or don't want it. When I have these consent conversations and boundaries, to be honest, women have terrible boundaries with people. Like, they touch you without asking. They say things to you without asking. Like it's because we're not taught that we can be harmful as women. We're not. It's very gendered. The conversation about harm is very gendered. We're not taught that boys can be coerced or like shamed into sex. I don't know if you watch Love Island, but Love Island over the summer, there was this conversation about one person on this show, and there's a scene like where it's recorded, her like trying to coerce this man in sex. He's like, I'm asleep, I don't want to. And she's trying to coerce him. And the fact that they aired that said, they don't think men can be coerced. They don't think men can be
abused
shamed and assaulted in that way. And even after it was brought to their attention, like it was very much not really even addressed. Like women can't do that. And that could happen in queer spaces. That could happen in straight spaces. Teaching them that they feel things. And that they're not just a physical thing. They have more than these limited wants and desires that they're socialized into thinking. But also women need to understand that we can't act like we don't also cause harm to each other in friendships, in parenting. We cross lines and we don't think of consent as something that goes across roles and gender. It's everyone has autonomy. Everyone has sovereignty. And we can't gender the harm that's caused or that reinforces harmful ideas and stereotypes. We can't gender that either, you know?
Yeah.
I think what a lot of people struggle with, well, let me just speak for myself, is how to start the conversation. I can be very like, okay, on Sunday, we're going to have a sex talk. Sunday at 6, we can call this, and then I'll give it a name. Sundays at 6, talking about sex.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'll give it a
name.
This
is so accurate.
This is like me. And my kids will be like, and I remember Sunday sex talk, you know, like that is how I approach things.
Look at my face.
That's cute. However, okay, no, your question? What's
so
your
my question is,
sorry.
How do we start the conversation or ways to engage? And are there, you know, your Own Every Piece is a fantastic website, that and other like tools or books or resources that we can use to kind of help guide us. Because I think sometimes parents feel like, well, I'm supposed to know how to do this. And it's like, no, you don't have to know.
That's why we got all these tools and resources. But so good question. And because I feel like it's not a conversation per se. I just feel like it's like this ongoing connection.
I love that.
And so it's like just looking
pause
at
for
it
the
to
cause.
where
We do pause for the cause when somebody says something really good.
Okay.
Pause for the cause. It's not a conversation. It's about this ongoing connection.
Ongoing connection.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because things are going to come up. I mean, there are moments that you can use in the car if there's a song playing.
Yeah.
And then like, what did I just say? Tell me what you think about that, right?
Yeah.
It's integrated.
Yeah, just your life, right? I know since my kids are a little bit younger now, right? 10 and 7. I didn't know 4th and 5th graders have so much drama around relationships at school. But we use this as an opportunity for like healthy relationships, consent, especially around like kissing and who tried to kiss who. But that is helpful because every time something comes up, my daughter's like, Mommy, now what? Let me tell you what happened. Now, what do you think about this? Right? And so I think for parents, sometimes it's just trying to make it fun and using like TV and media to bring up this conversation. I'm telling you, my daughter is a piece of work because she wants to know why I'm not having another baby. And I'm like, well, I got this thing called birth control. And so she's like, well, what's that? And so if you're asking me, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's right.
And I
That's
also
right.
feel like if you're asking, I don't know, I'm going to find out, but I'm going to answer. There's no way where you should just shut off the conversation because they ask and you don't think they're ready. If they're asking,
they're ready. That's the rule. That's a rule right there.
That's been the rule from the beginning for us.
They're ready and they're going to find out.
Yes.
They're going to find the answer somewhere.
They're going to find the answer. So, because I'm never going to forget, I don't know if it was it was the 90s. What was that? Something about a Jimmy hat, right? And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, what is a Jimmy hat? I had to be like 8 or 9. And she was like, no, she didn't answer the question. But from her response, I was like, oh, I'm about to find out what a Jimmy hat is.
Oh,
my God.
I will know what a Jimmy hat is.
What did you find out? I know it was, good thing there was no Google.
What's no Google?
I remember when my daughter asked me what a 69 was. We were in the car. I'll never forget. We were pulling up at our grandparents' house. I was picking up my son. I have this vivid memory. And I was like, let me go get your brother. And she's like, can I ask you something real quick? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And she goes, what's a 69? And I was like,
We'll pause you.
I said, what brought this question on? And she was like,
that's a good way.
Yeah, she was like, my friend, she said, she just did a 69. And I was like, oh, okay. So a 69 is da-da-da. And she was like, yeah, that's a lot of information. I was not, but I will never forget, because inside I was like,
oh yeah. Yeah. All the things are going to be going around. Yeah. Yeah. Because the way that we respond to it also tells them like, oh, can I, if something else, once they figure out what it is, and it's like, oh, I know, I probably can bring something up.
Yeah. This is,
but also even after you do that, to say, did that answer your question? Are there any other questions? Yeah, anytime you want to talk about it, just any of this, let me know. But I always follow up with, did that answer your question? Like, did that meet the need? Did that meet the need? Yeah. And do it when you're calm as a parent, like when you are in a good place, when you feel open and like you won't be like, shaking. Don't be doing all that.
Yeah.
Just be cool.
Because I will say to a lot of parents, I tell, and this is helpful when I do parent workshops, is sometimes, because that calm thing is right. Because you don't know what may be going on for you.
Yeah.
You can have a lot going on, and that dictates your response. And you don't want to be squeezing
it in between other shit. Like you don't want to just be checking a list.
So what has worked with some parents is like just responding like, oh my God, look at you asking questions. A good question. Now, what I want you to do, I need you to write that one down and then sit and see if you can think of 3 more. And then give them to me.
Great.
Like, give them to me. Because I know it's like, if you got that one, you probably got some more. Maybe your friends got questions. Write them down.
Yes.
My mom was heavy on your friends. Do your friends got any questions? Are your cousins asking questions?
Bring them on. Because I saw when all y'all to be educated.
Do you think it's a good idea to give them more than one way to ask a question? Like, if they're not comfortable saying it, maybe you text it to me, or something like
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Text it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this has been really good.
This is good, girl.
No, I had a good time.
There's going to be a lot of clips from this.
It's a lot of clips from this.
Good stuff. We is thorough.
Y'all had some good ones, too. Some great questions.
I know I learned a lot.
Enjoyed speaking with y'all.
Thank you.
We loved
Thank
having
you so much.
So let the people know where they can find you and if you have anything coming up.
Yeah, so definitely follow On Every Piece. That's at On Every Piece. Piece as in PIECE. We do have an event coming up in November in Houston. Actually, a 2-part, November 13th and November 15th. The 13th is like what women and girls need now. As you know, we're centered in Texas, and there's so many laws that have repressed women, girls, gender minorities, right? And so we are bringing together the conveners to figure out how we leverage the work that we're doing. Folks are getting cut, budgets are getting cut left and right, but there's still so much work to do. So we want to find some innovative solutions. And then that Saturday on the 15th, we have a community convening where we're inviting parents and their young ones to come hear panels. Folks are going to be telling stories. Like we have a mother and daughter telling their story about like just kind of all the things that we talked about today, right?
That's
and the
great.
Mom being like, I know I missed that for you. So let's have a little kiki and talk about how we open this up for other parents and their young people. But then we will also have a panel on like the male perspective, right? And like what ways that they can consider reproductive freedom and reproductive justice that they may not have been involved in as of late, particularly in Texas.
Yeah.
I love that.
We're excited about that.
That sounds amazing.
Well, congratulations on that great work.
Well, thank you for joining us. We'll have links.
Thank you.
We'll have links to all of that in our show syllabus.
Okay.
And you're also going to send us some resources.
Yes, I'm going to send some tools, some links.
Some resources and some tools.
And talking tips.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll be rooting for you on P-Valley.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Baker. Thank you. I appreciate it, girl.
Thank you.
Hey, now it's time for one of our most favorite segments, the segment where we put our own spin on sayings that Black mamas have been saying forever and ever. This week's Black Mama Say is talking out the side of your neck.
You talking out the side of your neck.
Yes.
That's
you
how they
talking.
say it. You talking out the
out
side
the
of
side
your
of
neck.
your neck.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll start
Yeah.
because if you don't really adhere to the information shared by Dr. Kim today, your kid is going to get some information from another kid talking out the side of their neck. Okay?
That's good, Nikisha.
The blind leading the blind out here. It is rough. Do not let your child learn about these issues from their peers. Please.
That's good, Nikisha.
That's good.
There
That
you
was
go.
great,
You
Nikisha.
always.
There you go.
You might
you
drop that.
always-
Bring it all back together.
My
next?
suggestion to the people.
Well, I'm not going. I have to refrain for spiritual reasons.
Here we go.
I have to refrain for spiritual reasons because when you practice Ifa, you have taboos. And so this may violate one of my taboos. So I'm just trying to
violated
open
that
up.
taboo all yesterday.
You
We
know,
violated
I'm
that
used
taboo for like 4 hours
Why you
yesterday.
telling my business like that?
Okay,
Why
it's
is you
fine,
telling
it's
my
fine,
business?
it's
Do I
fine,
tell
it's
your
fine. It's
oil
fine. It's
business
fine.
like
It's
that?
fine. It's fine. Well,
You
I don't
excuse,
get in
boo.
Oshun business. I do
Thea gonna wrap
not
it up.
get in
You,
Oshun business.
Nikisha.
What you say?
Thank
Nikisha?
you.
Thea, tell us what you talking
You
outside of
talking
your neck.
outside your neck.
My suggestion for everyone's well-being is that you refrain from talking out the side of your neck if you're talking about Meg Thee Stallion. Because she had told you in more than one verse,
She don't play.
she sues.
Let me find it.
She
Let
sues.
me find it.
So if she got to send a mariachi band to get you out that house, if she got to send Power Rangers, you about to catch them papers. And you need to just stop talking out the side of your neck about Meg Thee Stallion. Don't even breathe her name. I mean, literally, and I want this to be in reference to all Black women, because previously on another show, we might have brought up some Black men who met the demise at the hands of their partners who were non-Black after disparaging Black women.
After talking out the side of their neck.
After talking about
Black women.
About Black women. I'm saying Meg Thee Stallion uses the legal system, but there are other systems.
And us. There are.
We are the favorites. We are the chosens. So I suggest that you not talk out the side of your neck about us. Because something, watch how I do this, y'all, will come for your neck.
Crystal, edit that out. Edit that last part.
I didn't say what it was. I said if you talk out the side of your neck about Black women via, and you could Representative Meg Thee Stallion, something's coming for that neck. It could be a lawsuit or it could be something else.
Follow us on Instagram.
We got to get off this. Go, Nikisha. Go, Nikisha. Thea is living fucking dangerous. Like
I don't have this taboo.
She's
I have other taboos. I can't eat chicken. I can't eat chicken.
You're on that blue
will
state.
live this.
You're on that blue state California shit right now. Like that's what you want.
I'm on blue state.
Like y'all are on that. You on that blue state California. Like you on that.
Rep that. I'm on that.
I
thought we were just reporting the news.
We don't report the news. This is not a journalistic podcast. It's informative, but we don't report the news.
Follow us on Instagram at Dim Black
Nikisha.
Mamas Podcast. And if you don't want to miss a minute of the magic, be sure to sign up for our newly revamped newsletter, The Mothership, which includes reflections on conversations we've been having and hearing. And also we'll share a collection plate cause where we'll spotlight causes and initiatives that resonate within our community.
And don't forget to check out our website, www.dimblackmamas.com.
Hold it, Nikisha. Don't
Dim Black Mamas is a conversation.
Hold it, Nikisha.
So our inbox is always open. Send us your thoughts about the show, show us some love, and ask us some questions at magic@dimblackmamas.com.
Be sure to listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Don't just look at us. Make sure that you subscribe and check out our merch of the month. Check our syllabus for the notes. All right. And in closing, maintain,
expect
abundance.
That's all we got. So we ain't got no more. Let's get out of here. Namaste.
Please, quick.
Namaste.